about. Unfortunately, not good news. This is news that actually just came out this morning. Now we're learning of another. This is just the latest in a string of attacks happening on Milwaukee County buses. And this news that came out yesterday happened yesterday afternoon, middle of the day, 3:45, Route 35 near 35th and Fond du Lac Avenue in Milwaukee. Some teens, young as 14, assaulted a woman, came after a woman, 24-year-old woman, and her 2-year-old child were involved here. So very, very scary. We don't have video, thank goodness, of that latest incident. But this, of course, comes just on the heels of the sheriff holding a news conference yesterday to talk about this video. These were recent cases also on Milwaukee County Transit buses. This one involves a couple of high school students. A number of teens have been arrested here, but this has been happening several times over the last couple of weeks.
Was that a fight going on in the front and the back of the bus simultaneously?
The first video was actually students. I did this story yesterday.
Yeah, Tammy Hughes actually did this story yesterday, so I'm anxious to hear what you have.
Those students at Vincent High School, there were 2 separate fights going on. The second one was a fight, 2 guys beating up another passenger.
Let's hear from the sheriff first and see who he says to blame here.
When they give you this, the sheriff has all the resources he needs to effectively police the transit system. You look them dead in the eye and you'll be looking at a liar.
The economy of the county relies on a transit system, and the good news is the transit system is effective and it's safe and it's getting safer. So I don't think it's doing anybody a service to imply otherwise.
And the video is shocking. I mean, that's obvious to say. But you were saying this morning, because you, again, interviewed these guys.
Well, I think it's important, because it would be a disservice, because I think this is exactly what people get a little sick of. It looks like politicians screaming at each other. One says one thing, the other says another. Clearly, there are attacks happening. We have a lot of cameras now on the county buses. We're able to see it. It's awful to see, and the sheriff is pointing that out. But I have to say, I mean, the sheriff really spent a lot of time blaming the county executive, blaming the county board for not giving him enough money to put extra officers or deputies on the county buses. The county executive, what his point was yesterday is that attacks are actually down. For the last 4 years, and we saw the actual numbers, down about 17% in the last 4 years. So his point was it's getting safer. Right. Yes, we can see it more. We have the video now, and it's awful to see. No one, and he said our hearts go out to people who've been victimized. But let's not misrepresent the facts, was his point.
And it's important for people to realize it, too. Because when it becomes a story and we get the video, we show the video.
And you see something like that, which is just chilling. It's chilling. But, so the information that attacks are actually down is comforting to know, and hopefully we will keep that in mind. But that still, to me, does not excuse that kind of violence.
And there is an ongoing feeling, and Sheriff Clark was asked yesterday, are you going to run for county executive? Is that what this is? Are you trying to make a point that if you were, because he has done a lot of...
He seems to be posturing for
He's focusing a lot on county executive Chris Abley. He even, I will say, this happened yesterday in the news conference. It wasn't in our story because we only have a minute and a half. He actually at one point mimicked and was mocking Chris Abley and the sound of his voice, and that's what he sounds like. That happened. I'm telling the truth. So what does that mean? I don't know, but it clearly looks like he's trying to make some kind of point when it comes to the county executive. We asked him if he was going to run. He said, don't bring that into this, and he wouldn't answer our question. Now, does he have a point? Yes. Obviously, we wish we could have more security on the buses.
And the blame game, we've had, of course, the sheriff on this show a couple times, so we're no strangers to the Abley back and forth. And Chris Abley's been here, too. So stop the blame game. Is it alarming, when this came down this morning about a 24-year-old woman and her 2-year-old child, and a 14-year-old was taken into, a 14-year-old for being violent yesterday. I mean, that is it just punches me in the gut.
Yeah.
You know, and I wonder again, so what should the punishment be? I know it sounds brutal, but I'm thinking that if you beat, you should be beaten.
Yeah. Isn't that how you feel?
There's a lot of people
if you still lose limbs. Just, you know, what does it take? What's working in your mind or not working in your mind at the age of 14 where you would do, and clearly you got something twisted.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's beaten you already, I don't know.
Right.
But to become a public menace is just wrong. And also, hopefully it'll be shut down.
It's alarming.
Right.
Not the end of this story.
And you feel for people. But I will say, though, I talked to passengers who ride, and they said, overall, they still feel pretty safe. They said, I've seen some instances. One woman said she avoids around 3 o'clock when she knows there's going to be a lot of students probably on the bus. But I talked to a lot of people who said, you know, yes, we would like to see more security, but overall, the passengers I talked to anyway still said.
So maybe
Big
there's a case
picture.
for some
Safe.
targeted enforcement, like looking at times,
And
like-
they do that.
like
The sheriff said they
right.
do have certain routes. And I should also point out the county contracts with a private company,
okay.
Wackenhut, that's actually in charge. And the county's point was it seems to be working because it's getting safer. they
Right.
say.
So the sheriff is saying that his budget cuts means he can't provide additional coverage. Really,
Right.
the coverage on the buses wasn't affected by his budget then. Because if they had contracted out to someone else,
Right.
then it's not under the sheriff's budget, correct?
Well, that's what he said. He said, it's not even in my budget, but I do it anyway because
Right. But
he's
now
making
saying
that
he
effort.
won't be able to with the cuts.
He feels like, put me in charge and I'll make a difference.
We'll see what happens next.
Politics. And because we love politics so much,
Oh, yes.
the big announcement yesterday out of the political world was the recall signatures, the latest from the folks attempting to have our Governor Scott Walker recalled, say that they are pretty close to getting that done. The latest count is that they have cleared the 500,000 hurdle. Now, they need a few more than that, but at this pace, it looks like they'll be well past the necessary 500,000 and change that they need. They want to get to 720,000 before the deadline of January 17th. At this pace, they're doing about 18,000 signatures a day, which shocked me when you break it down like that.
I was a little surprised.
A lot of those came right out of the gates, though. People who were angry about the situation, wanted to. They went looking for signatures.
Right.
So now, of course, it's probably slowing down. But
Well, and don't you think, in a way, what was frustrating for people who wanted to recall Governor Walker was they had to wait so long. But in a way, I think what a framework they put in place. I think they said 25,000 volunteers.
Yeah.
So
It
they had
probably
time,
helped them in
I
a
think, in a
way.
way to organize, and maybe that's part of.
And the 18,000 a day, is that a number including all the signatures gained so far over the length of days?
yeah, that's just what they've been
Including
averaging.
Mickey Mouse.
Perhaps, yes.
No, but it's interesting because that came up as well, that because there was some report earlier that those names won't be initially challenged, but now they're saying the government board is saying, those things will kind of get flagged
If
for
they're
review.
pointed out
If they're
by
pointed out, yeah.
governor supporters.
Right.
That's the
Well,
whole
but I
thing.
mean, that's how the game's played. If you're not going to step
Right,
up
but
and
I'm
look
just
at
saying,
it, then
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not going to get your chance to
So
challenge
these numbers
it.
still have to be looked at again.
Yeah.
Not over yet.
Yeah, no.
And though we wish it were.
And we'll probably be telling you about it again.
Well,
We-
it
speaking-
may be going on for a long time because at that pace, they will likely easily clear the
Yeah,
minimum
sure,
number
yeah.
of signatures. So.
Sure. Well, speaking of things that we talked about before, I'm actually kind of glad to let you know that the county board okayed the Shakespeare program that we talked about for offenders. Now, this was what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and the county supervisors backed it 11-8 after a lengthy debate, but County Executive Chris Abley says that he might veto the program. This was the $65,000 given for the program that would enable young offenders to participate in Shakespeare, and after 6 weeks culminate in a play under supervision. Of course, the critics say, some of the victims say they would rather see them serve time versus take the stage.
Well, I mean, you were just saying the similar young victims, you'd like to see them beaten, so.
I did say that, didn't I?
Now, yeah.
Give them real swords
you
for
know
the
what?
fencing
And
team.
after they're beat,
Then they should read Shakespeare.
after they are beat, let them in some kind of creative
Although-
structure.
I'm so with you.
Well,
Making
this
them
is
do
something-
Shakespeare might be
this
just
is
as bad for some of them.
Punishment.
Yeah.
The sheriff talked about it yesterday. He said,
Again?
why does the county board want to spend money on a program like this and not give him money
Right.
to, perhaps put extra deputies on buses or things like that? But of
the
course,
real question, though, is what is rehabilitation?
and there
What
people say
works?
research shows that this program has seen success in other areas. So
I think the program's brilliant. However, I would, if I were a betting man, I would put money on Chris Abley vetoing it because it's politically toxic. If he lets
Yeah.
that go through,
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
like lining up, punch me in the face with it because it's just.
he's
it
vetoed
doesn't
other
sound
artistic
great.
programs, and he's been an advocate of the arts
Yes, he
throughout
is.
his life,
Yes,
but
he
he
is.
said that
Yeah.
this is not
Doesn't
the
show
time
that- yeah.
right
But
now.
you know what?
Money,
Somebody should step
money,
up. Somebody
money.
that is an arts person who's got $65,000 that they're looking to donate charitably. I
Yeah.
do not have that. Not even if you
You're an
want
advocate of the arts, aren't you?
No, but somebody should.
rehabilitation.
There are many philanthropic folks out there who love the arts and I think have these progressive mindsets. For $65,000, that program could be run privately.
And arts are a wonderful place for young people to learn discipline, to get to learn.
They have saved a lot of lives.
Yes, that's true.
Exactly. It's a very
Speaking
powerful
of the arts,
arena. Yes.
those talented singing kids at Marquette.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Right?
Yes, they are. A 3-hour presentation for the White House. They left yesterday and they will be
How
performing
exciting!
tomorrow.
Isn't that neat?
Apparently they're like performing in a loop. They're going to do the same kind of dozen songs because folks are coming.
3
out.
But I bet they don't mind.
Yeah,
I've stayed for 3 hours before.
Very cool. Our Marquette
that's really
students
neat.
performing at the White House. And also, just a heads up, we love having Tammy Hughes here, but we're also very excited about our guest co-host on Monday. Have you heard? Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn will be sitting right here at the Real Milwaukee desk for the whole hour. So
He's always a good soundbite too.
I can't.
He and the sheriff, and Bob Donovan, guaranteed
Right?
good soundbites.
So you're going to see
Fill
him
a whole news hour with
on
that.
live TV for an hour. And if you've got a question for the chief, we would like to hear it.
Yes.
Email us, chuck@realmilwaukeenow.com. Send us your questions for the chief. Again, tune in Monday or DVR us at the very latest, because that's going to be interesting.
So get your questions in now.
I'm so
Yeah.
bummed I'm going to miss it. I'm off on Monday.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well. Chief is here.
Yeah, you won't miss me, but I'll miss you.
All right, coming up, have you guys ever done this? I think everyone has. Pocket dials?
Or butt dials.
Butt dial someone. 2 guys in Madison did it, ended up under arrest. We'll explain that.
And by the way,